Alan, the Rockets playing Rockets basketball. That means tonight they attempted 48 threes. They attempted 38 twos.
You should see their shot chart. I was just showing Wally it while you were introducing everybody to the show. Of their shots, their 86 field goal attempts, only 3 were not at the rim or behind the three-point arc. Only 3, and they were 1 of 3 of those shots. Everything else was either at the rim or beyond the arc.
10-footer in the lane, no good.
That's what they do. That's exactly what they do, and 52 points in the paint for them.
I got to be honest. If you're a perimeter player and a shooter, it's a nice system to play in, quite honestly, because you don't have the blocks being clogged up by big men who are trying to post up. So then when you go to drive, and when you're a shooter, you can a lot of times beat your man off the dribble because they got to take away your jump shot. If you're a good shooter, they got to get up on you tight. That's what you have to do with James Harden. So he can get around his man. And if there's no guy sitting there on the block trying to post up and clog up the block, James Harden can just walk to the basket and get a layup.
Yeah.
And then if you do help, it's simple. He'll kick to the corner for a 3. He'll kick it to the opposite corner or the opposite wing for an open 3, and they have shooters all around him. What I'm so impressed with is the way those guys compete on the defensive end of the floor. Mm-hmm. They have guys, we talk about positionless basketball, they have guys that can play 1 to 5 pretty much. It doesn't matter what position
they'll switch.
They'll switch everything, and they'll fight in the post. They'll fight on the boards. P.J. Tucker, Covington, Jeff Green, Daniel House. Those guys get after it. Yeah. I mean, you can't just play like this and then not give effort, especially down low when Julius Randle's trying to post you up and you're giving up 20, 30 pounds. So these guys are competing and fighting in the post and the paint in order to be able to survive playing like this.
I mean, they're really going to try to prove that this can win in the postseason. I think matchup-wise, that's what you have to be concerned with this team, right?
Yeah.
If you get a matchup where you have a dominant big...
Anthony Davis.
Those types, right.
Good luck.
No, those types of guys, though.
But it's a good matchup for the Clippers because the Clippers don't have a dominant big man. And they play small ball. Clippers are going to be able to go with Harrell and, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and all those guys and play that, Beverly and play a lineup like that, which is going to fit right into the hands of the Houston Rockets. And then it's just going to become a one-on-one game between James Harden and Westbrook against Paul George and Kawhi.
Yeah, they're an interesting look. They really are.
I like it. I love it. I love it.
If Mike D'Antoni and Daryl Morey are just so adamant about doing it their way that they're going to take it to the extreme. What's interesting about D'Antoni, remember, he was not part of the NBA club. Had to play overseas.
Yeah.
And
overseas.
And then he comes over here and says, you know what, I'm going to show these guys, I'm going to do it my way. And you just wonder if it's so adamant that it may hurt them.
What do you mean, do it my way? Now the whole league's doing it his way, because it's the right way.
Okay,
okay. That's the way you're supposed to play.
Now he's taking it to another level, okay?
No,
I'm going to win with no one playing over 6'7". Wally, this is radical.
That is very radical. I'll give you that.
Now, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but I'm just saying
if you're going to take as many threes as they take, if you're going to make defense an option, let's be honest.
They're competing on defense, though.
But they will. But the point is this, though, is that they don't worry about shot blocking, rebounding, stuff like that. Even if they're too small, they feel like, and what they do to the Knicks in this game, the Knicks were keeping pace. The Knicks were kind of hanging around in this game until you realize the Knicks just couldn't keep up.
True.
It was just to a point. And they knew.
Makers.
Right, and they knew that. You don't have playmakers like they have. And you didn't even have Russell Westbrook in this game. Mm-hmm. But I think the Rockets, and especially Mike D'Antoni, they feel like, all right, fine, you can hang around with us for most of the game. We'll get you to play our game. And we're better at it than you are. And eventually, we'll win out. And for the most part, for this season, they've won a lot more than they've lost playing this way.
Yep.
You mentioned Russell Westbrook didn't play, sore thumb. James Harden, Westbrook out in L.A. at Kobe Bryant's memorial, and then they got to the arena, Wally, only about an hour before the game started. Didn't matter for Harden. He had 31 of his 37 in the first half.
That's what I love about it. I mean, the game of basketball is not that complicated. Sometimes, coaches like to really muck it up a little bit and like to make it way harder than it really is. If you got a guy that can shoot and that can get to the basket,
well, that's the key part, though, Wally. If you have a guy that can shoot, do what this guy does, which is unprecedented.
I know.
Yeah, of course you can play this way.
I mean, he's a gifted scorer. He really is. And then Mike D'Antoni just completely allows him to maximize his abilities and his talents.
It's a layup drill, though.
And he runs a system that's going to completely cater to his skill set.
It's giving him the space.
Yeah.
And when you're a great one-on-one player, I said this in the pregame, his ISO, he's the most ISOs in the NBA. Yeah. I mean, the most points, his 16 points a game in ISO situations for him, which is by far the most in the NBA. Yeah. So you have a guy that's the best one-on-one player. put him in a situation where he can play one-on-one. And what did we see tonight? It was all one-on-one because if you help, he'll pass it and they'll knock down those threes.
And another thing with Harden, he does not need a pick and roll. When you bring a pick and roll like Clint Capella up there to set a screen to try to get him open, you bring another defender into his way.
Right.
And you can trap him, and you can get the ball out of his hands. So Mike D'Antoni figured that out. He's like, other teams are trying to get the ball out of my best player's hands by trapping him. When I do bring a pick and roll, forget the pick and roll. They're not running any pick and rolls. They're just running iso ball.
Yeah.
And it's true. At the end of games, I think too many times, when there's 5 seconds left in the game, they bring that guy up to bring a pick and roll, and that brings an extra defender into a scorer's space. Let him go one-on-one. If you have a great one-on-one player, he's going to score a lot when he's got a one-on-one matchup and no help defenders
Or
in the
draw the
area.
foul, right, which he's very good at as well.
Here's the official box score. You know what's hilarious? P.J. Tucker is listed as a center. He's 6'5".
Love it.
This is the league for you.
Yeah.
Right
Hey, I'm ready.
Bill.
5'7", baby. I'll play power
Come
forward.
on, Bill.
5'7".
Come on, Bill.
5'7.5".
No.
Here's Tucker now with Rebecca Harlow.
No.
Thanks, Bill. PJ, it's been quite a day for you, starting in Los Angeles, honoring Kobe's legend, and then getting back here for this game. And what has this day been like for you?
It's been kind of crazy. It's rare you fly and play on the same day, but that was something me, James, and Russ was willing to sacrifice. Having the opportunity to be able to be there meant a lot to all three of us. I mean, it was huge, and as soon as we had the opportunity, the chance, we were on the West Coast already, so we just stayed, and I'm so glad we did.
And I'm sure it meant a lot to your team that you were able to get back for this game, too. But then as you take a look at tonight, the small ball with the Clint Capella trade, I mean, things seem to be working out well in that regard. What are you seeing?
We're playing well. We're playing well right now. We're getting better. It's a little different to start games out, but what I'm telling everybody is we finish small ball every game anyway. So the only difference is now we just start the game out like that. So it's just a little bit of adjustment for some of the new guys, but we're starting to get our momentum.
You've been such a glue guy everywhere that you've been around this league, but now you're in a situation where you're fighting for a championship here. The West is so tight, as always. What's it going to take to create separation in the West, really have some success and get after that championship?
I think the race this year for a championship is probably as tight as it's been in a long time. It's going to be exciting playoffs. Honestly, for us, I think it's just the continuity, everybody being on the same page. We play defense a little bit different. Our offensive style is a little bit different. So I think it's for a lot of new guys, the first-year guys here, just kind of figuring it out. But I think we're heading in the right direction.
Thanks, PJ.
I appreciate it.
Guys.
Rebecca, thanks. But Tucker also at Kobe Bryant's memorial, and him, Westbrook, and Harden able to get to the arena again. Westbrook didn't play. It's going to be very interesting to see how this works for the Rockets going forward, especially in the playoffs. Meantime, for the Knicks, R.J. Barrett, Wally, 21 points.
Yep.
His last 3 games, 16 points, 17 points, and tonight, 21. Follow MSG Networks on Twitter to vote on the Knicks Montefiore doing more player. And Barrett's been consistent here.
I love it, and that's what you got to do when you're a young player, you're in your rookie year, and you're on your way to first-team all-rookie honors. Continue to improve, continue to be aggressive, continue to put in work. Yeah, he hit those first 2 threes early on in the game, which was a great sign. He was 2 for 5 from the three-point line, so that's tremendous. 3 for 7 from the line. It's got to be killing him to leave points on the free throw line because he gets to the free throw line and he attacks the basket. And this was a perfect game for him because they don't have shot blockers on that Houston Rockets team. But one thing about the Rockets, they take the challenge personally on the perimeter defensively because they know if they give up a blow-by drive, it's a layup. They don't have any shot blockers back there. So you got to be really good on ball on defense and take the challenge, try to keep guys in front of you. But R.J. Barrett did a good job of attacking them in that department.
And especially in the first quarter. He went for 14 in the first quarter.
16.
6 of 8.
Wasn't it 16?
And then 14. And then he had 15 at the half. That's what I didn't understand is that he goes 6 of 8 for 14 in the first quarter and then 1 shot in the second quarter. In the rest of the game, the last 3 quarters, he has 7 points on 2 for 9. Now, he had to play some point guard in this game because the Knicks were short at that position. But I felt like he got out of his rhythm when the ball stopped coming back to him when he came back in the game. And you want to keep feeding this kid. You want him to develop. These minutes are very important for him to build off of. And I kind of felt like that went away from him in the second quarter. He never got his rhythm back.
Yeah, Knicks, as you mentioned, shorthand of the backcourt. Frank Ntilikina out with a bad groin. Elfrid Payton missed his second straight game with that sore ankle. Dennis McCune, you got the start. Played pretty well for Mike Miller.